Well, with Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods about to hit American cinemas, I thought it fitting to talk about another Dragon Ball related movie that came out a few years ago. That movie, of course, being Dragon Ball Evolution, the live action adaptation of the popular anime by Akira Toriyama, and single-handed destroyer of my childhood. First of all, I should bring up that this movie is universally hated by fans all across the board. And not just fans either. It's hated by basically every single audience member who saw it. On its surface, it's basically an adaptation of the original Dragon Ball manga. It centers on Goku and his exploits to not only find the 7 Dragon Balls, but also stop the evil Demon King Piccolo. The 7 Dragon Balls, of course, being 7 magical orbs that, when gathered together, can summon a mystical dragon named Shenron, or Shenlong in this case, who will grant you one wish. From the beginning, I was trepidatious about a live-action Dragon Ball movie because there is just so much in that show that would immediately rob it of any credibility if you tried to make it into a live-action film. That show is just so crazy and at times so stupid that I honestly found it hard to believe that Akira Toriyama got away with as much as he did. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball was a big part of my childhood. I remember coming home every day from after school and looking forward to the Toonami block of programming where it would show an episode of Dragon Ball and then immediately follow that up with an episode of Dragon Ball Z. I am by no means a neophyte when it comes to the universe of Dragon Ball. I know the story, I've seen the TV shows, I've played the games, I've seen the animated movies, okay? So when this movie rolled along, it felt like a personal attack against me. It felt like this personal, intimate strike against my childhood. It was something that was supposed to be made for me that ended up working against me. And every single other Dragon Ball fan. This movie is horrible. It's a horrible adaptation of the Dragon Ball manga. And on top of that, it's just a horrible movie. The acting in this movie just reeks of sheer disinterest. Every single one of the actors, or at least the principal actors here, just seem thoroughly embarrassed to be here. Justin Chatwin plays Goku already. Complete missing of the idea, complete miscast. Because he just seems so bored to be in this movie. And not only that, he gives a lousy performance to boot. He is just so wooden and so unlikable in this movie that I honestly thought that the writers had never seen one episode of Dragon Ball. Now, what I mean when I say missing of the idea is that Goku is supposed to be this carefree protagonist. I mean, that's part of his charm. He's this carefree kid who really loves martial arts. He really loves pushing his limits. Goku in this is this whiny, angsty teenager that you've seen over and over and over and over and over again. So not only did you rob the character of any kind of uniqueness, you are putting him in this age-old formula that was stale when this movie came out 5 years ago, okay? There's this one scene where Goku gets pushed around by these bullies and he just looks so angry. He looks like he's about to cry. He's just like... Emmy Rossum's in this movie as Bulma, and I love Emmy Rossum. Seriously, I do. She can sing, she can act, she's got a likable personality, she's hot. This movie made me hate Emmy Rossum. Okay, that just shows how evil this thing is. It made me hate someone as likable as Emmy Rossum. I don't even know how that works, but this movie managed to do it. She seems disinterested too. Not only, again, is she completely miscast as Bulma, she doesn't even have the blue hair. She has a blue streak of hair. Again, showing how the very idea of a Dragon Ball movie was completely ill-conceived from the beginning. I mean, there are just so many things that would fundamentally make this movie so crazy that it would alienate general audiences. And I'll get to that in a second. But Emmy Rossum is just so diva-ish and useless in this movie. She, again, like Justin Chatwin, seems disinterested. And here's actually the ironic thing. Later, she and Justin Chatwin starred in the TV show Shameless, okay, which is a very successful TV show. The main couple from Shameless got started on screen together in Dragon Ball Evolution. I mean, I'm not saying this was their first movie, but I believe this was their first movie where they co-starred. Okay, how embarrassing is that? The main couple from Shameless, this big successful comedy/drama TV show, the main couple originated on Dragon Ball Evolution. Chow Yun-fat I remember not hating as much as the rest of the people in this movie, because he actually does have some semblance of balance between the goofier nature of Master Roshi and the more stoic, grandfatherly-esque nature of the character. He actually does seem like a younger version of the character from the anime. However, again, he's way too young. Master Roshi is supposed to be this really aged turtle hermit who really has seen a lot of stuff. He has this big long beard. He has no hair on his head. He lives on this island by himself. As a pastime, he occupies his time by being a dirty old man. So Chow Yun-fat, even though he plays the role fine, again, he is just radically miscast. And this actually brings me to something that mainstream audiences might pick up on. Why does Goku's grandfather, who was supposed to be the pupil of Master Roshi, look about 30 years older than Master Roshi himself? I never got that. I mean, in the anime and the manga, they look roughly the same age. Okay, I could buy that one trained the other. Here, no. The grandfather looks like he's in his 80s, and Master Roshi looks like he's in his 50s. Okay, I don't know how that works. Maybe it's just that the casting agents were so incompetent that they honestly did not know how to count. Or again, maybe they've never seen an episode of Dragon Ball in their life. They've never taken one look at the anime. Probably another person who fares slightly better is James Marsters as Lord Piccolo. He's not King Piccolo, he is Lord Piccolo. Now, when I look at James Marsters as Piccolo, he is one of the only characters who I can point to and say, oh, that's Piccolo. When I look at Justin Chatwin as Goku, if they didn't tell me he was Goku, I would not know he was Goku. If I looked at Emmy Rossum as Bulma, I would not guess that she was Bulma. But James Marsters as Piccolo, I could theoretically say, okay, that's Piccolo, because he has the deep voice, he has the stoic nature, he has the attitude. He's still written horribly. He's still completely underdeveloped as a bad guy. I mean, we barely see him. But, he is one of the characters that they screwed up the least. However, even in that compliment, I'm sort of backing down on, because he honestly looks like a Romulan from Star Trek, the way that they have him made up. Which, I'm guessing that was no coincidence, considering this movie came out the exact same year as J.J. Abrams' Star Trek reboot. The effects are not any better either. The effects look fairly Sci-Fi Channel-esque. Or, if I'm going even further, they look like something out of Hercules' The Legendary Journeys. They look completely outdated. Aside from that, the movie just has a real identity crisis. It does not know what it wants to be. Does it want to be this faithful adaptation of Dragon Ball? Does it want to be this really generic martial arts flick for the mainstream? Really, it doesn't matter, because it disappoints both crowds. I mean, fans of the original series of Akira Toriyama's works are going to be angered by this movie because they get so many things wrong. And I realize that when you make an adaptation, there are certain liberties that have to be taken. However, there is a difference between taking liberties and then completely missing the idea. Okay? For instance, Goku transforms into a giant ape, both in the manga and in this movie. However, in the manga, and in the anime, he has a tail, okay? Goku is an alien. He is an alien from a race of warriors called the Saiyans. And these Saiyans are born with tails, and whenever they see a full moon, these tails enable them to transform into giant building-sized apes, effectively amplifying their power and sending them into an uncontrollable rage. Goku does this in this movie. However, he does not have a tail, and they say that Goku's ape form is a servant to Piccolo. Okay? First of all, up until this point, we had never established that Goku even had this ability. We had never established that this form actually existed, except in legend, and even then, it never said. The legend at the beginning of the movie never actually said that someone transformed into the ape. They just said, "Oh, Piccolo has control over this Ozaru ape." Okay. So it comes out of nowhere. So it doesn't work as an adaptation because they get so many details wrong. And it also does not work as a twist, as a regular twist, because it just comes right out of nowhere without any setup. And also, the characters, they just get completely wrong. I mean, Chi-Chi is played completely wrong. Goku is played completely wrong. This is not Goku, okay? Goku, they completely dropped the ball in his characterization. They completely dropped the ball on Bulma, Yamcha, Chi-Chi. Really, the only characters that they get semi-close in terms of relation to the original source material are Master Roshi and Piccolo. But even then, like I said, it's distracting in the case of Roshi because he's way too young. And Piccolo is barely in the movie. And when he is there, he looks honestly more like a Romulan than he does a Namekian, which is his character species. The techniques that the characters use, the Kamehameha wave, the evil containment wave, even they get those wrong. And I'm not just talking about the crappy effects. I'm talking about the execution of these techniques. The Kamehameha wave is this energy blast that Goku and Master Roshi can fire. And it basically obliterates anything in its path. Here, they use it for whatever they want. It can either be an energy blast, it can actually resuscitate Goku after he has been knocked out and presumed dead. Master Roshi calls it an airbending technique. Okay, make of that what you will. I will say this movie is better than The Last Airbender, but that's not saying much. Yeah, put that on the poster. Better than one of the worst movies ever made. I just really hated this movie. I mean, the fighting sucks. The movie is way too stupid and way too alienating to the mainstream, while at the same time it is also not even remotely a faithful adaptation of the original source material. So also it alienates what is supposed to be its target fan base. The characters are unlikable. The acting is completely uninspired. There are so many concepts that are just portrayed completely wrong. Everything about this movie just seems like a slap in the face to Dragon Ball fans, and by extension, a slap in the face to me. I mean, someone who has been a fan of the Dragon Ball saga for as long as I have, it just seemed like a real... I was just so miserable. At least with the other Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball movies, I mean, they're not really all that accessible to the mainstream, but at least they are made for the fans. I mean, at least they are made by Toei Animation. They are made. They get the characters right. I mean, I cannot imagine some some completely uninitiated guy off the street coming in to watch, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z Cooler's Revenge and expect to know what's going on. But again, as a fan, I am able to digest Cooler's Revenge, or The Return of Cooler, or Broly Legendary Super Saiyan, or any number of the numerous Dragon Ball related products. This is just, I don't even know what this is, but it's not Dragon Ball. That I can be certain of.